I can play in front of I don't care how many people, as long as I got a bass around me and confident, just walking up there crushing. But yeah, it's I'm building those nuts out here in the stand-up world.
Welcome back to our latest edition of Behind the Curtain here at Epic Event Center. My name is Ryan Vander Sanden here. I'm along with our special guest host, as always, stand-up comedian, That Metal Show, Mr. Don Jamieson. Welcome back, sir.
Good to be here, brother.
All right, and today we've got two very special guests who are going to be joining us here live on stage on January 10th here at Epic Event Center, we'll let them talk about it throughout the conversation here, but from Five Finger Death Punch, Mr. Chris Kael. What's up, man?
I am glad to be here, my friend.
And then, of course, we got the man of 1,000 voices. Welcome, and again, thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Craig Gass. What's up, man?
I am in a very echoey room right now at a Starbucks in the middle of the desert in Arizona. And by the way, I have to say this right off the top. I respect the Packers. I love the Packers. I'm wearing a Seahawks hat. The Seahawks are my team, but I love football. And anyone who knows me knows I go to the Super Bowl every year to talk to the players. I'm a big football fan. And I just don't want you to look at this and say, kill him. I don't blame you for saying kill him. I absolutely love and respect the Packers and respect the Packers organization. And I love how much of a football town Green Bay is. And I'm hoping to actually catch a playoff game when we get there. So
speaking of sucking dudes off, good Lord.
I know. Come on now.
Dude, when you talk about Packers fans, I always wanted to go to Lambeau. I think if you're a football fan, it's the equivalent of going to Yankee Stadium. It's like you want to go to a living, breathing museum. And the first time I went to Lambeau, it was a Monday Night Football game against the Vikings. And I didn't know that they had no seats in the stadium. I never knew that. It's all benches, and the benches have numbers that are separated by what would be normal-sized asses. And the night that I went to that Monday Night Football game, there was no normal-sized asses in my row. I don't know where my seat was, and they were trying to help me, and then I squeezed in between a couple of people to watch the game, and that experience was, for the next couple hours, whether I wanted to or not, every time the Packers did something, I was lifted out of my seat like, oh! Oh! And dude, in the middle of the winter, that is the warmest feeling you could have, is to be at a Packers game, hanging out with Packers fans. It's awesome.
A lot of people know Chris Kael as the bass player in Five Finger Death Punch, but he's not only that, he's a stand-up comedian and a podcaster now. The Beardo and Weirdo podcast that these two guys do, that's most excellent. Chris, obviously anyone could look at you and understand you're the Beardo. Craig, why are you the weirdo?
Well, you know me.
What's so weird about you besides doing an interview from the stall of a Starbucks?
I'm a very odd person, and I've learned that through the people who love me. Like my girlfriend and Chris, they explain to me how often how unusual I go about things. And of the podcast, by the way, has been successful beyond all of our expectations. We've already got over 11 million views in the first 9 months on our Instagram stories.
Right on.
And it's we've been getting great guests that have been coming on, and it went from this idea of like having fun, two friends who love going to concerts and comedy shows, to taking some weird twists and turns. We had 2 episodes dedicated to horsecock, which you have to see. There was a guy in a, not a thrash band, he was in a hardcore band that did a speech about horsecock on stage that went crazy viral. And the guy actually wanted to do our show to talk about the speech and about his job where he had to masturbate horses for a living. And
I love that he's speaking about this in Starbucks right now too.
Yeah,
I love that.
Of course. Why wouldn't I?
Even though people at Starbucks know the weirdo.
That's one of the new flavors, horsecock.
Can I just hang on for 1 second? Can you get a puppuccino, please? Anyways, so we've had guys from System of a Down and Korn and all these great friends that have joined us. We've gone through this expose of revealing a court case that just happened with one of the most famous rock photographers in the world. Ross Halfin just had a crazy confession in court where he's passing off other people's work as his own and taking money from people, which is insane. So the podcast has been not what we expected, and it's gotten very popular very quickly. And that night at the Epic Event Center, we're going to do the live stand-up show, followed by a live taping of Beardo and Weirdo with the audience. So you can actually be a part of this show and be a part
Brett
of...
Favre's going to be there to respond to his allegations. We're looking forward to it.
Yep, it's going to be... and, by the way, it's Ryan's birthday that day, too.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah. So I kept, Ryan goes, hey, that's going to be my birthday. And I go, oh, you want us to, we could roast you? We could draw dicks on you? And he goes, it's just my birthday. He's like, we don't have to be on the show. And I go, oh, yeah, we'll bring you out on stage and we'll pants you. And he's like, nah, man, it's just... So we're going to do something. We have to do something. We have to make fun of Ryan. We have to invite people from the neighborhood to come on stage and air your grievances about Ryan. Just something. We have to do something about Ryan that night.
Yeah, it's going to be Ryan's own Festivus.
Yep,
airing of grievances against Ryan. And listen, when you don't hear Craig sneaking up on you, that's when he's coming.
That's part of the reason why I wanted everybody on this call. I actually can't make it that day, so I don't know. We're gonna have to change the whole script.
Sure.
And Chris, you've never played, or have you played the Epic Event Center?
I don't recall having played there before. I see the post all the time and like, man, y'all got some great events coming out there. So happy to be coming out there as part of the Beardo Weirdo podcast and the stand-up for this event. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, so it's you'll as a musician you'll love it because it's clean. There's washers and dryers. There's a little gym in there. You can get your workout on. And
sweet.
Yeah, and the dressing rooms are top notch. But coming in as a comedian now, talk about doing that now for almost a few years now, right?
A few years now, yeah. Craig invited me to do a thing which you're familiar with called Punchlines and Backlines. That was my first time on stage. It's where they've got 3 professional comedians and then a musician who's never done it before. Craig invited me to get up there, and I got up there and was just basically telling stories about being in Five Finger Death Punch and punching up some stuff here and there. And ever since then, I've been coming up with like jokes and punchlines along with the storytelling as well. Talk about real life, talk about a breakup I just went through this past year, talking about being the kid in elementary school that had to wear an orange motorcycle helmet the first day of school. That's right. I wore a helmet to school.
And Chris is hitting open mics, dude. Don knows what I'm talking about. I really admire this about Chris. He's just wrapped up a 2-year world tour with Metallica where he's performed in just stadiums around the world. And he's going to open mics where you got 10, 12, maybe 15 people at an open mic. Every single one of those 10, 12, or 15 people are there to perform, to do the open mic. And he is going through some rough training in doing stand-up. And it's something that he just knows that's what he needs to do. And I really admire him for that.
Yep, I don't mind getting out there and doing the reps.
Yeah, because Don and I are familiar with people who are famous enough to be able to sell tickets, and they'll say, I want to do stand-up comedy, but they won't go work on it. They'll just do that, whatever they think is funny, for a couple of years on the road, telling stories that are not quite, punched up enough and ready for stand-up. And Chris is actually doing the work, and we've already done some stand-up shows together. When you tell him about when you ask him if he's ever done an Epic Event Center, I just want to point out that there's been a couple times that Chris and I have gone to concerts at stadiums. Like we went to a stadium show, a couple stadium shows in Australia. Then we did a stadium show. We went to go see AC/DC in Washington, D.C. And we're standing out in front of the stadium, and Chris goes, I think I performed here once. And I was like, God, dude. Don Jamieson and I would be outside of like a dive bar going, oh, yeah. Remember this? But And
Hey,
Chris,
if you play the
we played
stadium-
this VFW hall, didn't we?
And if you
Chris-
played that stadium, you'd have the date written down.
Yes.
You know the sequence of the set.
yeah. But Chris does that outside of stadiums, outside of
Yeah,
football
I'm like,
stadiums, which
I've never seen the front of this place before.
Yeah, it's annoying.
That's
it's
true.
Annoying.
But the only other guy I know who does something similar to that, but he keeps it with music, is Dizzy Reed from Guns N' Roses. Those guys will tour for 6 months, stadiums all over the world, and he'll text me from countries that I couldn't even pronounce. I mean, these guys play everywhere. And then he'll come home and we'll all jump in a 12-passenger van and go out as Hookers and Blow, Dizzy's little side band. He's going from 75,000 every night to 75. And it's
I know how that is.
but it's dedication. Yeah, it's dedication, Chris. And I'm happy to say this, not just as your friend, but Chris is legitimately funny. So when you guys are down there, I mean, you guys all know Craig is a pro comic for 25, 30 years now. But Chris, man, you've come such a long way in such a short time. You got a great mentor in Craig. And, man, you're going to kick ass up there. You're going to love that stage. And there's no shortcut to doing it, man. You're doing it the right way, and it shows.
It's
And
funny.
I'm going to be sending Ryan my stage setup for the pyro that I'm bringing as well. So just make sure we got our people on that.
We're just a
That's funny
few
'cause-
just a few weeks out, man. I got to get that ordered with the holidays. So you got
Yeah.
Don
Usually I
and
got people doing that for me, so I got to do this all myself now.
I understand.
Logistics is killing me.
Don, isn't it weird, just as an aside between me and you as big metal fans, how weird it is how our lives are intertwining with our favorite bands now? It's fucking bizarre. Like when we were kids, the rock stars were like these people that came from another planet, and somehow decades later we're in this world where the rock stars respect comedians and look at what we do and go, man, I could never do that, and
Yeah, I can speak firsthand for that.
Yeah.
Going from playing in front of 25, 30,000 people on stage, that's easy.
Yeah,
One man, one mic.
yeah.
Even at an open mic, it's like, wow, that's still, the nerves are still there for me. If I could play in front of, I don't care how many people, as long as I got a bass around me and confident, just walking up there crushing. But yeah, I'm building those nuts out here in the stand-up world.
It's crazy because like he loves comedy, and then me being a music fan, I've had this history of annoying Gene Simmons, doing an impression of Gene Simmons that bothered Gene so much that he actually showed up in New York to confront me live on the air on the Howard Stern show. I lived at Eddie Van Halen's house for a period of time back in 2004, and like Don,
He gets his mail at my house now.
yeah, and like Don, I've opened for a bunch of bands like Metallica, System of a Down. Last summer, I caused a lot of problems opening for Pantera. It just makes sense for the two of us to do this together, and the show's, it's a very heavy rock themed show, obviously, because Chris is in one of the most popular hard rock bands in the world, and I'm a huge fan, and I'm always, trying, like Don, trying to get gigs with some of my favorite bands to open for them. So it's a night of jokes about your favorite rock and metal people, and followed by that live podcast taping. So somewhere in the middle, Ryan's going to get embarrassed. I don't know how we're going to do it, but because it's his birthday, we have to do something for him that night.
Yeah.
And
Craig, you mentioned Gene Simmons, and this would be a good time to get your thoughts, because I know Craig and I are obviously massive Kiss fans. We did a whole Kiss comedy show in New York on their last night of performing ever.
Yep.
Those final shows at Madison Square Garden. And Chris, I'm not sure if you're a Kiss fan, but I'd love to get, if you have a funny story about one of our heroes, of course, the late great Ace Frehley, who is still shocked. There you go, the demon leg right there. So 3 massive Kiss fans. Any interactions or stories about Ace you want to share?
Out of me, nothing
Whoever.
that I never met Ace Frehley, but we actually opened up, Five Finger Death Punch opened up for Kiss in Germany, over in Berlin, And it was like a dream coming true. I'm like, yes, my favorite band ever. Get up there. I'm going to be playing this show. So when we got up there, we're like, all right, what songs do we play? Kiss fans going to learn about Death Punch today. We're playing all the heavy songs. We're going to come out and crush. So we started off playing, I think we started off with Way of the Fist, which is boom, right out of the gate, one of the early heavy songs. And I remember about a third of the way into the song, there was one older lady in the front row just going, could not give two shits at all. Kiss fans love Kiss. About 3 songs into it, we were only doing like a 20-minute set opener for Kiss. About 3 songs into it, you start hearing, we want Kiss. We want Kiss. I was like, what is happening? This is a nightmare. This is not how this is supposed to go. So after we get off stage, we got back there and like, tomorrow we're playing the hits, just all the radio stuff. Second show went much better.
Good. That's awesome. Well, that's a great, man. As a guy who loved them as a kid, that must have been a thrill, dude.
Mm-hmm. Very much so. Yeah, just to be able to like see Gene Simmons walking around backstage and talking about, daily life with the demon himself. I'm like, what is this life?
I've got 2. One personal one and one that is just one of my favorite stories ever because I love a good story. I found out that a friend of mine was working for Ace Frehley. He got me into a show at BB King's. I don't think it's even there anymore on 42nd Street in
New York City. No.
And he got me into the show and said, have you ever met Ace? And I said, never met him. He goes, oh, come on down. I'll introduce you. He loves comedians. So he brings me down to the dressing room and he goes, Ace, this is my friend Craig Gass. He's a stand-up comedian. He does voices on the Howard Stern show. And Ace goes, I love stand-up comedians. And he shook my hand and I go, yeah, man, I actually do an impression of Gene that really bothered him. And I start telling him the backstory and he just kind of went, oh, all right. And Don and I, we get this thing where we just know, yeah, all right. Nice to meet you. Have a great show tonight. I just walked out. It was like, it didn't seem like the conversation was going anywhere and I didn't want to like take up any more of his time or stay in his space, let him get ready for the show. Go watch the show and I see Jim Norton in the crowd. So we kind of gravitate towards each other and just watch the show together. And after the show, Jim goes, you ever met Ace? And I go, I actually just met him before the show. I just had a quick introduction. And he goes, dude, come with me because Ace loves me. He goes, come down and say hi to him. So we go.
This is comedian Jim Norton. We should let the crowd know.
And Jim Norton walks in and Ace, just like Jim said, he goes, Jimmy, how are you? And he gives him a hug. And Jimmy goes, hey, man, great show, Ace. This is my friend Craig Gass. He's a stand-up comedian. He works on the Howard Stern show. And Ace goes, I love stand-up comedy. And he shook my hand and I went, what the fuck? And we had the exact same conversation 3 hours later. I couldn't believe it. But my favorite story about Ace over the years, because there's a part 2 to the Gene Simmons story, which is that the day after Gene Simmons confronted me live on the air on the Howard Stern show, I got a phone call from their management company, McGee Entertainment, and they said, hey, we just wanted to reach out to you to tell you that our singer, Paul Stanley, is your biggest fan. And I said, get the fuck out of here. And they said, no, don't tell anybody, but Paul loves when anyone makes fun of Gene. And so he's going to call you later today. And he called me and he offered me a gig to do the Kiss Cruise for the first time. And as a result, I've gotten to know everyone seemingly that works for Kiss, their crew and their management and everybody. And there was a guy who's been working for Kiss for a few decades who told me that at the reunion rehearsals, when they were all going to put the makeup back to get the original band back together, he said Ace Frehley came to rehearsal one day and saw this guy, his name's Steve, and he goes, hey, Steve, this is my fiance. What's her name? And she punched him right in front of the guy. He actually forgot his fiance's name when he introduced her. I love that story.
That is oh my God. Ace did love stand-up comics, and he could have been one had he chosen to put the guitar down and just get up there and do his thing. But we all love him, and rock and peace, Ace. Before we run out of time, let's mention one more time. the Beardo and the Weirdo, Chris Kael and Craig Gass, January 10th at the Epic Event Center, Green Bay, Wisconsin. Final question from me, boys. What flavored cheese curd do you want in your dressing room?
I am an addict of more. So all of the flavors, please.
Okay, perfect.
They
Craig?
have that. They have that kind, actually.
I'm down for the sampler platter. Yeah.
Got it.
I will do.
But
honestly,
order it as Gene Simmons.
All right. I would like mozzarella sticks. And you can pay me to watch me eat them for $49.95 at kissonline.com. Boom.
Guys, thank you so much. Have a great show.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. This is going to be a phenomenal night, man. It's going to be one of my favorite nights that we've done on this tour. Epic Event Center, Saturday, January 10th. Go, Pack,
Warm it up.
go.
Warm it up my arm. Warm it up my arm for those birthday spankings. Get ready.